welcome to the deep dive. We are so glad you're joining us today.
Definitely.
Because today we're unpacking a massive industry-wide pivot that's happening right now in artificial intelligence.
It really is a fascinating shift to witness.
Yeah.
If you look at the sources we're diving into today, there's this very clear, honestly, almost ruthless pattern emerging across the industry.
The titans of AI are basically waking up to a pretty stark reality, right?
Exactly. They're realizing that consumer hype, the viral screenshots, the funny poems, the flashy videos, it just does not equal long-term business utility.
It doesn't pay the bills long term.
Right. The era of the shiny AI side quest is suddenly over.
Yeah.
We're now entering a brutal, highly focused war for the enterprise encoding markets.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we are seeing this play out most dramatically at OpenAI right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a leaked report from a recent company-wide meeting there, led by their applications CEO, Fidji Simo, and she did not mince words.
No, she didn't.
She looked at how Anthropic has been just absolutely dominating the enterprise market lately, and she literally called it a wake-up call.
Yeah.
In fact, she explicitly labeled the situation at OpenAI a code red.
Which is incredibly strong language for a company that, from the outside, looks like it's totally winning.
Right, like they're the biggest name in the game.
But a code red internally, that indicates a fundamental threat to their core strategy.
Because we've all been distracted by the consumer stuff.
Exactly. For the past year, public attention has been completely captivated by this consumer-facing rivalry. Everyone comparing ChatGPT to Claude on their phones.
Sure.
But the actual battleground for long-term survival, the place where the sustainable compounding revenue models actually exist, is enterprise integration. That's where the real war is.
And because of that code red, OpenAI is completely overhauling its product strategy, like aggressively scrapping what Samo referred to as side quests.
They're just dropping them.
Yeah. If you've been wondering why certain features haven't dropped lately, this is why. They are halting projects like the Atlas web browser they were working on.
Wow.
They're dropping custom hardware development, scrapping plans for an adult mode, pulling back on ad infrastructure, and even dumping various e-commerce features.
It's a massive cleanup.
It is. And get this, even their massive 2025 launch of the Sora video generation model reportedly caused massive internal confusion and constant shuffling of computing resources.
And that detail right there about the computing resources, that's the crux of the issue.
Also.
Well, computing power, specifically these highly advanced GPUs, is finite.
Right.
So every single processor dedicated to generating some hyper-realistic 60-second cinematic video of a flying pig for a consumer on Twitter.
Right, the viral stuff.
Yeah, that is a processor that is not being used to optimize a coding assistant for a Fortune 500 company.
Ah, I see.
By attempting to build the theme park, the studio, and the mall all at once, OpenAI dangerously fragmented its own infrastructure.
And while OpenAI was shuffling servers around to make video generators work, Anthropic just quietly took control of the enterprise space.
They really did.
They released highly focused utilitarian tools, things like Claude Code and Cowork, which immediately grabbed the lead with business customers who just, they just wanted to get work done.
Exactly.
And they didn't stop there. Anthropic just unveiled a new feature called Dispatch for the Claude desktop application. And this sounds wild.
Oh, it's a game changer.
It allows you to message your Claude assistant from your mobile phone while you're on the go, and the assistant autonomously runs code, browses the web, and manages files directly on your physical PC sitting back at your office.
Think about the paradigm shift that Dispatch represents for how you interact with your operating system.
It's crazy.
Historically, you, the user, had to act as the manual bridge between your phone and your desktop.
Right, sending emails to myself with attachment.
Exactly. If you needed a file processed, you had to wait until you were sitting at the keyboard. Dispatch turns the AI into a unified execution layer.
Wow.
It basically transforms your desktop computer from a static workstation into this active, remotely manageable engine that just works while you're commuting.
It's exactly the power tool analogy. The construction crews don't care about the theme park. They want the tool that builds the building faster.
Precisely.
But OpenAI is fighting back hard. Since January, their Codex model, the one specifically built for programming, has quadrupled its weekly users to over 2 million.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah, and they just released a new GPT-5.4 model specifically targeting business workflows. alongside these smaller, highly efficient mini and nano models.
Right.
And those smaller models are designed explicitly to be fast, cheap engines for coding agents.
That's fascinating here is how clearly this illustrates the mechanics of software adoption.
Yeah.
Simo stating this out loud to the entire OpenAI staff shows that enterprise customers are just fatigued by novelty.
They don't need a parlor trick.
Exactly. They don't want a chatbot that can mimic a pirate. They want systems that demonstrably, measurably accelerate their internal engineering and daily operations.
So, okay, if OpenAI is scrambling this hard to capture the enterprise market, it naturally makes you wonder what on earth is happening with their biggest enterprise partner, Microsoft.
Right.
Because Microsoft poured billions into OpenAI to be the ultimate enterprise wrapper for this technology. But according to our sources, Microsoft is facing its own massive crisis of adoption right now.
They really are.
They're currently overhauling their entire AI org chart. They're merging all their fragmented co-pilot teams under a single executive, Jacob Andreou, who previously worked at Snap.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. He's now the executive VP of Microsoft AI, overseeing design, product, and engineering for Copilot, all under one roof.
And consolidating those traditionally siloed teams under one leader, especially someone with a consumer product background like Snap, is a massive structural admission by Microsoft that their previous approach just failed.
A total reset.
Yeah. In legacy software, you often have design, product, and engineering working in total isolation.
Right.
But to create an AI workflow that people actually want to use seamlessly within, say, Word or Excel, those three departments have to operate as a single unified pipeline.
And the numbers completely explain why they are hitting the panic button on that pipeline.
The numbers are rough.
Copilot is genuinely struggling. In February, Copilot recorded only 6 million daily users. When you compare that to ChatGPT's 440 million daily users, the gap isn't just large, it's staggering.
It's a totally different universe.
And worse, for the enterprise add-on the tool they're trying to sell to businesses, Copilot is currently reaching just 3% of Office subscribers.
3% penetration into your own captive locked-in user base is incredibly low for a company of Microsoft's scale.
It's basically nothing.
Right. And remember, the broader market context here is that Microsoft's stock has taken hits recently.
Wall Street is watching.
Exactly. Legacy software companies are under immense, crushing pressure from Wall Street to prove the ROI for all the billions they've poured into AI over the last 2 years.
Right. And Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman is responding to this pressure by shifting his focus squarely onto a 5-year mission to build superintelligence entirely in-house.
Yeah, that's a huge pivot.
They even reworked their partnership with OpenAI to lift a ban on solo development that was supposed to run through 2030. So the runway is clear for Microsoft to build toward artificial general intelligence on its own.
Which is wild.
But wait, I have to push back on this logic for a second. Let me get this straight. Microsoft's Copilot software isn't getting traction with users. People aren't clicking the button.
Right.
So CEO Satya Nadella's big solution is to spend billions more to build a massive in-house competitor to the very partner whose models they are currently using.
I know how it sounds.
I mean, does changing the underlying engine actually fix the fact that nobody likes driving the car?
That is exactly the right question to ask.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Nadella is making a very specific, highly calculated bet here.
Okay, what is it?
He's betting that the usability issues with Copilot are actually a symptom of not having deep architectural control over the foundation model itself.
So the wrapper approach is the problem.
Exactly. Operating simply as a wrapper for OpenAI's technology, where Microsoft just sends a prompt to OpenAI servers and waits for an answer, limits what Microsoft can deeply integrate into the OS. Furthermore, it violently squeezes their profit margins because they're paying a toll to OpenAI for every single query.
That makes sense.
Nadella realizes that if Microsoft is going to thrive in the next decade, they cannot just own the application layer. They must demonstrate they control their own destiny at the foundational model layer, from the silicon all the way up to the interface.
Okay, so Microsoft wants to own the massive closed model. OpenAI wants to own the massive closed model.
Right.
But while they're trying to force one giant generalized brain into every business, a French AI lab called Mistral is taking the exact opposite approach by basically handing over the blueprints.
Yes, Mistral.
They just launched a platform called Forge, and Forge gives enterprise customers the exact training recipes and infrastructure that Mistral uses internally to build their own models.
And we really need to clarify what that actually means, because this goes far beyond what people call basic fine-tuning.
Okay.
Basic fine-tuning is like teaching an existing chef a few new recipes. It only adjusts the surface-level behavior of a model.
Sure.
What Forge provides are the full pre-training, post-training, and reinforcement learning pipelines.
Hold on. For those of us who aren't actively building large language models from scratch in our garages,
Right.
what does having the full reinforcement learning pipeline actually let a company do that fine-tuning doesn't?
Great question. Reinforcement learning is essentially how you shape the fundamental reasoning and logic of the AI, not just its vocabulary.
Okay.
It allows a company to fundamentally rewire how the model understands and prioritizes information based on their own highly specific proprietary data.
Wow.
You aren't just teaching the chef new recipes, you are completely rebuilding their palate and their understanding of flavor from the ground up to suit your exact kitchen.
And crucially, Mistral lets you do all of this entirely on your own company servers with zero data exposure back to Mistral.
That's the key.
They already have massive early partners like ASML, Ericsson, and the European Space Agency, and the Space Agency example is fascinating.
Oh, I love that one.
They are using Forge for highly specialized tasks ranging from complex legacy code migration to restoring ancient, fragile manuscripts.
Which highlights exactly why Mistral's approach is so brilliant.
Right.
If you're a defense contractor, a global financial institution, or a government agency like the ESA,
Right.
data privacy isn't just a preference, it is a hard legal requirement.
You can't just upload it to ChatGPT.
Exactly. You physically cannot route proprietary source code or classified documents through an external API owned by OpenAI or Microsoft.
Yeah.
Mistral recognizes that companies sitting on vast troves of proprietary data need models trained explicitly on that knowledge in a secure environment, not just prompted with it in a temporary chat window that vanishes when you close the tab.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about the analogy here.
Okay.
Instead of renting you a genius by the hour, a genius who might accidentally leak your corporate secrets to a competitor if they get hacked, Mistral is basically giving you the textbook, the lab equipment, and the raw materials.
Right.
So you can grow your own custom genius in a locked basement where no one else can talk to it.
That's a great way to put it.
And Mistral is moving fast to support this. Just this week, they released Small 4, which is a new localized model combining reasoning, coding, and vision.
Yep.
They released Leanstral, and they join NVIDIA's Nematron coalition.
And that structural difference in approach changes the entire economic model of enterprise AI deployment.
How so?
As a business, you shift from paying a continuous, unpredictable rental fee for external intelligence to making a one-time capital expenditure on internal infrastructure.
Right, it's an asset now.
Exactly. And the beauty of that internal infrastructure is that it actually compounds in value the more you train it on your own private network.
Okay, so if the heavy lifting, incredibly powerful models are retreating into the locked basements of corporate servers, what happens to the AI that you and I actually use on our laptops every single day?
Yeah, the consumer side.
That brings us to what's happening at the consumer and workflow layer, which is evolving in some deeply surprising ways.
The architecture of our daily digital interactions is transforming. We're finally moving away from the era of having 50 different browser tabs open and constantly copying and pasting between them.
Thank goodness.
Right. The new digital architecture is all about the AI living seamlessly within the context of where you are already working.
A perfect example from our sources today is Gamma. They're an AI presentation builder, currently approaching 100 million users.
Massive user base.
And they just massively overhauled their platform. They launched Gamma Imagine, which is an AI-native visual creation tool. You just give it a text prompt, and it generates on-brand posters, logos, graphics, full layouts.
So cool.
They rebuilt their template experience so you can update an entire 50-slide presentation instantly while keeping your strict corporate design guidelines intact. But the kicker is that Gamma is now embedding its platform directly into ChatGPT and Claude.
And that embedding is the critical workflow evolution. It completely removes the friction of context switching.
Right.
Think about how annoying it is to ask an AI assistant for an outline, highlight the text, copy it, open PowerPoint in a new window, paste it in, and spend an hour formatting the bullet points.
Oh, worst.
By embedding Gamma directly into the chat interface, the generation of the idea and the formatting of the final visual product happen simultaneously in the exact same environment.
Google is taking that concept of deep integration to an entirely different level with Gemini.
Oh, yeah?
They are currently rolling out a new feature called Personal Intelligence for free to all US users. Now, It requires you to explicitly opt in, but once you click yes, it connects Gemini directly to your Gmail, your Google Photos, your search history, and your YouTube viewing habits.
That's a lot of data.
It is. The AI synthesizes all of this to deliver hyper-personalized answers to your daily queries. Like, if you ask it where you should eat tonight, it won't just give you a Yelp list.
Right.
It will provide restaurant recommendations based specifically on the cuisine of the reservations it finds buried in your past emails or the food travel vlogs you watch on YouTube.
Which is incredibly powerful because the utility of any personal assistant scales linearly with the amount of context it has access to.
Yeah.
By indexing that massive localized reservoir of data held within your Google account, Gemini ceases to be a generalized search engine looking at the public web.
It becomes yours.
Exactly. It becomes a highly specific, localized knowledge graph of your exact daily life, your habits, and your preferences.
But right as Google is doing that, we get another massive piece of news from Sam Altman's company, the proof of personhood company.
Right? The Orb folks.
Yeah. They just launched something called Agent Kit. This is a tool specifically designed to let websites verify that a real biological human is actually behind the purchases being made by an AI shopping agent.
It's wild.
So wait, let's look at the contradiction here. Google is giving my AI access to my deeply personal photos and emails so it can act as my ultimate autonomous assistant.
Yep.
But at the exact same time, Sam Altman's company has to release a cryptographic tool just to prove I'm a human when my AI goes to buy a pair of shoes.
It's a paradox.
Are we just building a web where bots spend all day talking to other bots?
This raises an incredibly important question regarding the fundamental mechanics of the future internet.
Yeah.
When your personal AI agent acts autonomously on your behalf to book flights, purchase goods, negotiate customer service disputes, the receiving server on the other end must verify the transaction's legitimacy.
Right, or it's chaos.
Otherwise, the internet just becomes a playground for automated fraud. We're rapidly transitioning into a digital economy where cryptographic proof of personhood is required precisely because the actual execution of the transaction, the typing, the clicking, the credit card entry, is being handled entirely by a machine.
Let's bring this all together by looking at the specific tools trending in the AI space this week, because they perfectly illustrate this shift away from novelty and toward these hyper-specific workflow-driven solutions.
Absolutely.
We aren't seeing tools that write you a bedtime story anymore. We're seeing tools that do the heavy lifting.
Exactly. The consumer novelty phase is fading, and the era of the specialized agent has arrived.
Let's go to Struct. It's an AI on-call agent that automates root cause analysis for engineering alerts.
Which is huge.
Right. So instead of a human software engineer getting woken up by a pager at 2 a.m., having to log in and belligerently parse thousands of lines of server logs to find out why the website crashed.
The nightmare scenario.
Yeah. The AI instantly digests the logs and diagnoses the system failure the second it happens. Then you have Radiantly, which is a platform entirely dedicated to building human-managed automation workflows and intelligent agents.
Very practical.
We also have Graspeo, a highly targeted tool designed to ingest raw, messy study materials and instantly generate comprehensive quizzes and flashcards. FineVoice is making waves by allowing users to generate incredibly high-quality, expressive speech content utilizing AI for professional audio production.
Awesome.
And finally, you have NemoClaw, which is NVIDIA's new open-source security layer, specifically designed to keep OpenClaw agents secure when they are running complex, multi-step tasks. So looking at this stack of tools, what does this all mean for where we are headed?
It means that the industry has finally found its footing. These tools are not side quests, to use Fidji Simo's term.
Right.
They are highly pragmatic, deeply integrated solutions that solve immediate, quantifiable problems. Struct reducing server downtime directly saves the company tens of thousands of dollars.
Measurable impact.
Radiantly streamlining automated workflows directly increases a team's operational efficiency. These tools reflect the exact realization that sparked OpenAI's code red.
A wake-up call.
Yeah. The true world-changing value of this technology lies in the quiet, structural optimization of complex systems. Fixing the 2 a.m. server crash, securely parsing classified data, rendering the slide deck not in the superficial generation of consumer entertainment.
We have documented a massive historical shift today. The industry has firmly moved out of the shiny object phase of AI and into the heavy lifting, enterprise-focused phase.
Without a doubt.
Whether it's Microsoft rethinking its entire org structure to build foundational models from scratch, Mistral handing over the keys to localized reinforcement pipelines, or OpenAI furiously pivoting back to its coding roots to fend off Anthropicness. The objective is crystal clear.
It's all about utility.
The war for the future of AI will be won in the locked basements of corporate servers, integrated deeply into our daily software, not in the public chat interfaces we play with on our phones. Be sure to follow the show and share this deep dive with someone who loves staying ahead of the curve.
I'll leave you with this final thought to mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
If the world's absolute most powerful, capable AI models are currently retreating behind the closed doors of enterprise servers and private company mainframes to do the real heavy lifting work of the global economy,
Yeah.
how long until the consumer AI that you and I have access to on our phones becomes just a watered-down, heavily filtered illusion of the true superintelligence running the world?